2021. After 20 years of war, which began on October 7, 2001, the Americans begin to withdraw their troops, the deadline being August 31, 2021. On February 29, 2020, the US and the Taliban signed a peace agreement, titled the Agreement for Bringing Peace to Afghanistan, with provisions including the withdrawal of all regular American and NATO troops from Afghanistan, a Taliban pledge to prevent Al-Qaeda from operating in areas under the Taliban control, and talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government. The deal was supported by China, Pakistan and Russia, and unanimously endorsed by the United Nations Security Council. With the signing of the peace treaty, I would like to present you a brief summary of this war, but also what Afghanistan looks like today after 20 years of war. The campaign in Afghanistan started covertly on September 26th, after the September 11 attacks, with a CIA team known as Jawbreaker arriving in the country and working with anti-Taliban allies, initiating a strategy for overthrowing the regime. Over the course of 20 years, there have been countless attacks, fighting, changes of government, and state reconstruction operations. From all this, I try to highlight some that seem more important or significant in the history of this war, marking every year. The year is 2001. A Northern Alliance assassination, September 9, 2001. Terrorists strike the United States, September 11, 2001. A war footing, September 18, 2001. President George W. Bush signs into a law a joint resolution authorizing the use of force against those responsible for attacking the United States on 9/11. The opening salvo, October 7, 2001. The US military, with British support, begins a bombing campaign against Taliban forces, officially launching operations Enduring Freedom. Bin Laden escapes, December 2001. After tracking Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden to the well-equipped Tora Bora cave complex southeast of Kabul, Afghan militias engage in a fierce two-week battle with Al-Qaeda militias. It results in a few hundred deaths and the eventual escape of bin Laden, who is thought to have left for Pakistan on horseback on December 16. Reconstructing Afghanistan, April 17, 2002. President George W. Bush calls for the reconstruction of Afghanistan in a speech at the Virginia Military Institute. By helping to build an Afghanistan that is free from this evil and is a better place in which to live, we are working in the best traditions of George Marshall, he says, evoking the post-World War II Marshall Plan that revived Western Europe. Major combat over, May 1, 2003. During a briefing with reporters in Kabul, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declares an end to major combat. The announcement coincides with President George W. Bush mission accomplished declaration of an end to fighting in Iraq. A Constitution for Afghanistan, January 2004. An assembly of 500 Afghan delegates agrees on a constitution for Afghanistan, creating a strong presidential system intended to unite the country's various ethnic groups. A new president for Afghanistan, October 9, 2004. In historic national balloting, Karzai becomes the first democratically elected head of Afghanistan. Voters turn out in high numbers despite threats of violence and intimidation. Bin Laden surfaces, October 29, 2004. Signaling the persistent challenges facing the US-led coalition in Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden releases a videotape message 3 weeks after the country's presidential election and just days before the US polls in which George W. Bush will win re-election. Democracy in Afghanistan, September 18, 2005. More than 6 million Afghans turn out to vote for the Council of People, the Council of Elders, and the local councils. A bloody resurgence, July 2006. Violence increases across the country during the summer months, with intense fighting erupting in the south of July. A Taliban commander falls, May 2007, a notorious Taliban military commander, Mullah Dadullah, is killed in a joint operation by Afghan, US and NATO forces in the south of Afghanistan. Collateral killings mount. August 22, 2008. Afghan and UN investigations find that errant fire from US gunship killed dozens of Afghan civilians in a Shindad district of western Herat province. Obama recommitted to Afghanistan, February 17, 2009. New US President Barack Obama announces plans to send 17,000 more troops to the war zone. Afghan presidential election, November 2009. After more than 2 months of uncertainty following a disputed presidential election on August 20, President Hamid Karzai wins another term. Osama bin Laden killed. On May 1, 2011, Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden, responsible for the 9/11 attacks in New York and Washington, is killed by US forces in Pakistan. 10 years of war, October 7, 2011. The US war in Afghanistan marks its 10th anniversary, with about 100,000 US troops deployed. Obama announces US troop withdrawal, May 27, 2014. President Barack Obama announces a timetable for withdrawing most US forces from Afghanistan by the end of 2016. US attacks Islamic State's redoubt, April 13, 2017. The United States drops its most powerful non-nuclear bomb on suspected self-proclaimed Islamic State militias at a cave complex in eastern Nangarhar province. Trump signals prolonged Afghan war, August 21, 2017. US Taliban peace talks progress, February 2019. Negotiations between the United States and the Taliban in Doha. Trump calls off peace talks, September 7, 2019. President Trump abruptly breaks off peace talks a week after top US negotiator Khalilzad announced that an agreement had been reached in principle with Taliban leaders. US Taliban signed deal on path to peace, February 29, 2020. US envoy Khalilzad and the Taliban's Baradar signed an agreement that paved the way for a significant drawdown of US troops in Afghanistan and includes guarantees from the Taliban that the country will not be used for terrorist activities. US announces troop withdrawal, November 17, 2020. Biden decides on complete US withdrawal by 9/11, April 14, 2021. President Biden announces that the United States will not meet the deadline set under the US-Taliban agreement to withdraw all troops by May 1st, and instead releases a plan for a full withdrawal by September 11, 2021. It's time to end America's longest war, he says. The year is 2021. With the withdrawal of US troops and the signing of the peace treaty, we can believe that Afghanistan will receive the peace it deserves. But that is far from the case. Terrorists stormed the entire country, starting with the 4th of May when Taliban fighters launched a major offensive on Afghan forces in southern Helmand province. They also attacked in at least 6 other provinces. On July 21, Taliban insurgents control about a half of the country's districts. On August 13, 4 more provincial capitals fall in a day, including Kandahar, the country's second city and spiritual home of the Taliban. In the west, another key city, Herat, is overrun and veteran commander Muhammad Ismail Khan, one of the leading fighters against the Taliban, is captured. On August 14, they captured Mazar-e-Sharif and with little resistance Pul-e-Alam, capital of Logar province. On August 15, the Taliban take the key eastern city of Jalalabad without a fight, effectively surrounding Kabul, and on the same day, Taliban insurgents enter Kabul. After 20 years, the war may be over, but the losses are not.